Good evening, world. I want to do a video tonight about the coronavirus epidemic. I know that I already did a video back in late January about this subject, but since then, my video on that particular around that time was it had not really spread to the United. I mean, it was already in the United States, but there were just a few isolated cases at that time. I think one or two in San Francisco and a couple in Seattle. And that was, like I said, that was the last week of January. Since then, as the world knows, this is probably something that we saw coming, but we didn't know the extent of the spread of the disease would be. But it has obviously exploded in the United States. I want to preface this video by saying I'm going to try and steer clear of anything political or any inflammatory type rhetoric or language, because that is not what I do on this channel. I never wanted to talk politics or anything divisive when it comes to what people think and what they believe. But as far as what I want to talk about in this video, though, is the United States definitely has a problem with I don't want to say because it's I don't think it's everyone in the country, obviously, but there is a level, I guess you could say, of anti-science sentiment in this country, which obviously gets under my skin. But as far as talking about what I want to talk about, though, I'm trying to steer clear of, this party is responsible for this or this party said that. I don't want any of that in my videos. But what I will talk about, though, is actual science. Things that are not, I want to say things that are irrefutable. Maybe not 100% irrefutable, but at least the things that have been, gone through the scientific method. So that is to say, yeah, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but if the consensus among the top experts in the world say this, then I'm more inclined to go with that than someone, Jim Joe Bob in his basement talking about his InfoWars nonsense. That's the kind of thing that I won't like to dismiss, and I think it should be dismissed. You can believe it if you want, but that's your prerogative. So, without further ado, number one, the number one topic I want to. By the way, this will be three things I want to say about this pandemic. And number one is this disease is not a hoax. I've seen several sources try to say, the pandemic is not real, it's a hoax. We're just trying to bring the United States down or the economy down, or a lot of that nonsense, and it's obviously politically based. But my advice or my suggestion to things like that is stop listening to pundits and talking heads that clearly don't know what they're talking about, and they have an agenda, and that goes for any party. I'm not talking about one party in particular or one politician in particular, but like I said, I'm going to stay clear of politics. So you make your own decisions on that. But there's no such thing as secret science. I mean, science is science. And when it comes to, like, if you believe this is a hoax, or that's just feeding into your own confirmation bias. And I know there would be people would say, well, you believe in science, that's just, you're just trying to confirm what you believe. Well, no, because just like anything in the world, there's truth and there's lies. Something's either right or it's wrong. um, I don't want to make it sound like Star Wars, like Sith believe in absolutes, or all that kind of thing. But if the consensus by people who know what they're talking about say that we can show you A is true and B is false, I tend to want to make my own decisions based off of that, and not by someone who just is being paid to. And when I say being paid, I'm talking about like people on TV, certain news channels. They push these people on there and they try to scare the population, and they're talking about things they don't know anything about, and trying to push it off as, well, I know more than you do, or that kind of thing. And it's not even based in the scientific method. So, just take heed and take warning to people who don't know what they're talking about. And I would encourage you also to please do your own research. We live in the information age. There's no reason why I've been reading a lot about this myself, and I'm not, obviously, I am not the smartest person in the world, but if I can figure out what is truth and what is lies, then I'm pretty sure anyone can do that. But anyway, number two, this is another thing I've been seeing a lot of, and that's this virus that's spreading is a bioweapon, or also that this was, there's labs all over the world that study infectious diseases and whatnot, that this escaped from one of those, which I'm not going to say that is not plausible, because it is. In fact, there's some experts saying this virus was something that was being studied in a lab that got out. That is possible. But what I do not think is possible is that this disease was purposely engineered to either spread or kill people. That I do not believe. And there's reasons why I do not believe that. First of all, there's no evidence for it. Everything I've read on it says that this virus is obviously the result of natural selection and evolution, and not resulting from human engineering. And you might be asking, well, why is that? Well, the experts who have so far studied this particular strain of virus have all said, or well, not all, but I would say the vast majority have said, and when I say that, I'm talking about the credible ones, not the ones that just are spouting nonsense for to get their 15 minutes of fame or something. But the reason why they know that this virus is of a natural origin and not been manipulated by humans is when they study the what's called the backbone of the virus. It has naturally evolved to bind to certain inhibitors in the body, specifically the ACE2 inhibitors. The experts have said that if this was a virus that was engineered in a lab, they would have first started with the backbone, and this virus, that did not happen. Uh, the coronavirus gets its name from if you see the outline of the virus itself, it has these little spiky things that they're like, I guess, protein strands. Oh, by the way, I am not a immunologist or an epidemiologist, so I will be putting a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. So anything I talk about in this video is basically from my own research. I mean, it's truncated from everything I've read, but do not take anything I say in this video as an 100%. This is just information I'm repeating from what I've seen from other sources, but I would say they are reliable sources. So, like I said, make your own decisions, but I just wanted to make that clear, since I'm obviously not a scientist, so some of the things I might say might not be scientifically 100% accurate. So, but anyway, just basically the overall makeup of this virus is the top experts have all pretty much agreed that this virus evolved on its own. It was not humanly engineered because of the makeup of the virus. It's I guess a good analogy would be, you can go to a car lot and buy a new car, or you can go down the street and buy a hunk of junk from some guy selling it and rebuild it to your own specifications. In this case, this virus was not rebuilt from a pile of junk. It's basically what you see on the car lot. So it came that way because it came that way from nature. So, moving on to the last one. You might have seen some of the videos that are circulating on social media feeds, like Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It doesn't matter. Probably more Facebook than anywhere else. But talking about how this disease, Chinese people, or nasty people, or something along those lines, which I don't necessarily believe that, but this video has showing like the markets where people buy either wildlife or stuff from the sea, like shrimp or fish or whatever. But I would always caution anyone to not believe everything they see, especially from a social media feed, because you don't know where these things originate from. I mean, that obviously that's not to say that what you're actually seeing is false, but the idea behind it might be false. So in this instance, this video is, I guess, trying to say that just because, which by the way, these things have been supposedly outlawed in China, which what I'm referring to those markets that I mentioned earlier. You're not, I don't think you're going to be able to buy snakes or bats or something along those lines from a live market anymore. But this video is trying to claim that the virus originated from one of these markets. Well, so far the evidence does not point to that. One might be able to assume that because this is a disease that's the word to describe the disease is zoonotic, which means it's a disease that can jump from animals to humans. the video is trying to suggest that because snakes and things like this, rats or dogs or whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever animals being sold in these markets is the reason why the virus jumped from animals to humans. But as I mentioned earlier, so far there's no evidence to support that. They originally thought that this is a disease that came right from bats, and then they tried to say it came right from snakes, and then there was another one that says it was from pangolins. I even saw a report today it came from shrimp. So until they pinpoint it for sure, I think it would be irresponsible to spread a video saying, this is how it happened when we're not even 100% sure at this point. There's even a report that said that this is going back to topic number 2. I mentioned about the research laboratories or bio laboratories. It could have escaped from that, but that doesn't mean it was being weaponized. It was just being studied, and somebody was careless with their research, and it's possible that it came from there, but they're still not sure yet. So that's why it's not a good idea to spread information or misinformation or any other, trying to place blame on something that we're not 100% sure how it even happened yet. So please do not feed into hysteria or panic, and I'm not saying anyone's panicking yet, but be careful. Just be careful with how you manage this information. But anyway, those are just my points with what I've been seeing so far. And I'm a guy that does not, I don't really care too much for conspiracy theories. When I was younger, maybe high school age, I thought it was kind of a neat thing, like, how creative it could get. But as I've gotten older, I really do not care for it because sometimes it's anti-scientific, other times it's irresponsible, and sometimes maybe even dangerous to believe some of these things. So I'm not going to talk about conspiracy theories in this video. I might do a separate video on that one day, because there's a lot of things to actually debunk that people really get into or really believe, and I obviously do not. I try to be as objective as possible. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Tell me what you think. If you think the same way, or you think that what you see, like on something like InfoWars or some other site like that peddles misinformation. Like, what do you think? I want to add that in our area, and this is related to the virus. This is Saturday, midnight last night. They gave us the stay-at-home order for our county. So this is real, and hopefully, being that this is March. Hopefully in the very near future this starts to die down, because obviously it's affecting everybody, and some of us not in a good way. So but anyway, let me get on off of here, but everybody have a good night, and thanks for watching.